Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Rivals Down South here on Stadium. Cable package or youtube.com/watch stadium. Get to your comments. I am T-Bob Hebert, former LSU Tiger, and he is AJ McCarron, three-time national champ, current Cincinnati Bengal, former Alabama Crimson Tide member. AJ, what's up, man? How's this Friday finding you?
It's good. I had a quick little red zone day, and now I get to come home and wash some clothes, do this show, and relax a little bit.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of crazy, right? No wife at home, no kids. You're really like a Ronin samurai warrior, just roaming the lands, plying your trade. How do you deal with the impending? How do you deal with the loneliness? Like, what do you do?
A lot of staring out of these couple windows right here that I'm facing. Singing a couple sad songs, and then going to have a dessert maybe to make myself feel better.
Jesus, that was an even sadder answer than I thought I was going to get when I thought it was going to be like, I just put the blinders on and I bury myself in work. Like, I don't know. I look out the window and go to Cheesecake Factory. Damn. All right. Well, okay. That's okay. It's kind of a weird start to the show, but we're going to have some fun here on this Friday. We're going to hang out for the next 30 minutes. We're having a good time. Okay. And as all things go, look, we'll get into our Friday game predictions. Very upset. Was hoping LSU could come through for me, tie this thing up. AJ started to build a little bit of a lead, but a weird slate this week where I think we'd have different sides of these games. We'll get into that segment too. But here at the start, look, it looks like even when Lane Kiffin's not trying to make headlines, the man just has a unique knack for doing it. So Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss on Wednesday filed a motion to dismiss a $40 million lawsuit brought against him by defensive tackle DeSanto Rollins. DeSanto Rollins is alleging discrimination during a mental health crisis last offseason. And yesterday, because that's how these things work, both sides, kind of have their evidence that I'm sure they're waiting to put out there when it behooves them. But yesterday, the audio was leaked of a heated conversation between Rollins and Kiffin. This came on March 21st. This is what it sounded like.
If you would have come here when you kept getting messages, the head coach wants to talk to you, and you saying, I'm not ready to talk to him.
I wasn't.
Well, what world do you live in?
I don't see why you gotta be disrespectful, honestly.
Get out of here. Go. You're off the team. You're done. See ya.
Because
See ya. Go. And guess what? We can kick you off the team. So go read your rights about mental health. We can kick you off the team for not showing up. When the head coach has to meet with you and you don't show up for weeks, okay, we can remove you from the team. It's called being the It's called hiding behind and not showing up to work.
AJ, what's your initial reaction hearing that?
100% agree with Lane Kiffin. Listen, I might be old school, but the way I look at it, if you're in the NFL and you just don't show up to a team meeting, that's $36,000 that you have to pay. That is a fine.
What? For one
it's just the way it goes. If you're late to a team meeting, the team has the obligation and the right to fine you $18,000. Okay, so what the school can't fine unless the NCAA wants to put this fine system in there, since everybody's getting paid now. But you can't just not show up to work for 2 weeks and not respond, not say anything, like, especially when the head ball coach is trying to get you up to the office to talk to you, possibly help you out. Because, Lane and Ole Miss were one of the first ones to have their coaching staffs do the whole mental health deal. And so, that's the part that gets me is, okay, if you need help, then you should be trying to receive help. But if you're not trying to receive help and you're just at home or wherever you are, just doing whatever the hell you want to do, I'm sorry, but I do not feel sorry for his ass. Excuse my language. I can't stand it. I think it's selfish of the player. I think it's childish, and I'm 100% behind Lane Kiffin with this.
So this is interesting, right? Because I don't disagree with anything that you just said. I will play a maybe not even devil's advocate. I'll try to break this down in the most empathetic light that I can for Rollins, right? And because look, my initial reaction is this is like potentially a complicated story, right? We are looking through a keyhole. We're trying to decide what's going on in the room, right? Like a single piece of information could come out that changes all of this. Like you said, though, I think the bottom line is there are very few jobs, if any, or businesses in which if you just don't show up or talk to anybody for multiple weeks, that you're going to remain employed. Like you are 100% going to be fired, right? And I get that this kind of sucks for Rollins because things like depression and mental health can be incredibly complex. And a lot of times if you're going through something like that, for people on the outside, it's hard to empathize because your actions to them look like very illogical or wrong. And I do know people who have been depressed into paralysis, right? Where they basically can't do anything, don't want to get out of bed, don't want to do anything, just forget the world because it's weighing on them so heavily. But, and again, I bet you Rollins feels like that was him, right? Like I bet you that Rollins does feel that his actions were him due to feeling mentally unhealthy. But unfortunately for Rollins, I think he learns a hard lesson about just how the world tends to work, dude, right? And how you have to conduct yourself, even if that's how you're feeling, right? Like mental health issues are not a pass to do whatever you want. But as you said, right, what you ultimately hope, AJ, is that you're empowered to go speak to your superiors, to be honest with your team or your counselors or whoever. And so like really what is not okay. Like no business is going to be mental health is just to get out of jail free, do whatever the hell you want card. What you want is a business that will respect you if you go to them with those problems. Right. And it sounds like here he just didn't do that. And even though I can empathize with him and let's say like, I believe everything Rollins is saying here, it just doesn't matter. Because you just can't conduct yourself in that manner and expect to remain employed or have your boss happy with you.
Right. I mean, listen, I'm not saying mental health is not. Everybody goes through stuff, right? Like, I mean,
yes.
I'm up here from a mental side. This part of my career is tough. I'm 9 years in the league. I'm up here by myself in Cincinnati. I don't have my kids. Like, I don't have family coming to visit. I'm missing holidays. I miss birthdays. Like, I understand. It's all tough. I've coached my kids for the last year and a half. All of a sudden, I don't get to coach them in anything. I understand people go through stuff. Everybody's problems are different. But when you have somebody that is, especially your boss, is reaching out to you and trying to help you along in this process, and you don't even have the decency to respond back to him, according to the audio tape that was leaked, like, I at that point, I don't feel sorry for you. I can't agree with that. We are not on the same wavelength in that sense. Like I have no feelings of empathy towards you whatsoever.
Yeah, and so look, like I said, I think Rollins learned a tough lesson. Now we'll see where it plays out in court, and a lot of people balk at the $40 million number, and let's be clear, like that's absurd, but that's just what lawyers do, right? Like you see the lawyers always come up with a ridiculous number and then they hope to settle and find somewhere in between. So look, Nolan Hawley says in the chat here, youtube.com/watch stadium, mental health is massively important, but Kiffin has to hold everyone to a standard. It's one moment of a meeting, perhaps a tough one, but I generally side with Kiffin. Yeah, I think that's probably the case the most. And look, so some people are painting this as, but Lane Kiffin's talked about mental health. Like he was very proactive this offseason, talking about it's a new age of football. You can't be that old school kind of guy, right? And in fact, he was talking about getting the coaching staff and at FC Media Days, the players help, saying, quote, I was excited to do that, to help our players. Now, because of social media, our players go through a lot. Remember, they're kids, and they read all those things that fans and media are said, oh, they lost the game. It's really challenging when you talk to kids about how that wears on them. So some people are painting now all the mental health quotes that Kiffin has in the past, AJ. They're painting a lot where they're saying it's duplicitous. And I get it. Like the language in there where he's like hide behind mental health, that feels very aggressive. Again, we don't know the whole story. But I don't think I don't think it is duplicitous, right? I believe that you can hold somebody to a standard, but still, if he had approached you in the correct way from the beginning, that you would have been more understanding, would have worked from on the mental health side. And yeah, I think that it doesn't mean that Lane Kiffin suddenly does not care or anything. I kind of want to shift the conversation, though, when it comes to the role that social media plays. I mean, we're kind of getting to be old heads a little bit here, AJ, but we had that unique experience where when we started playing, social media did not really exist, or it did in kind of its infancy. And then by the time we got done, I mean, you're still in it. I mean, look at Twitter now, right? It is direct conduit to whatever emotion somebody wants to throw your way. How in your career, how have you learned to kind of deal with it and not let it wear you down to nothing?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, T-Bob, we were at a unique time during, especially college, because social media was just starting to come on strong, right? Like, yeah. I remember, leading up to the LSU week in 2011, the first time we played y'all during the regular season, the game of the century, my cell phone number got leaked out on Twitter.
Oh, no way.
from LSU fans. And so all night long for the whole entire week, I got calls nonstop from LSU fans. So, like, you want to talk about mental health, trying to prepare for a game that week and not having an alarm clock or something. Like, I was going crazy over there. But listen, social media is tough. That's why, like, all these kids, nowadays, everything's posted on social media. It's about how many followers you can get. What stupid stunt can you get to achieve the most amount of followers? Like, that's not how you build hype. And like, I don't understand social media to that sense. Like, social media can be really good for you from the type of message you want to push out to, your following or a younger generation that's looking up to you, and from a business standpoint. But like, reading the comments and stuff, like, I've never, back in the day, yes, when I was younger, like, it used to be one of those things, but I learned quick, like, hey, if you want to be focused and stay focused on the task at hand to achieve whatever goal you have, whether that's a personal goal or a team goal, you have to learn to block that out. And, I mean, it's just one thing that I thank God I was, blessed to, be able to do that.
And I think those kids get it more now, AJ, but I think you hit the nail on the head. The older I get, the more we deal with it, because in this job, we just deal with people, calling us stupid like every single day, whatever. Yeah. What feels really good? Not engaging. What actually feels the best is not clapping back, just giving them no power over you. Do not let another man, woman, anonymous troll, whoever, have power over you. That goes for anybody listening to this right now. You do you. Like AJ said, keep the blinders on, do the work. A couple of guys who have done the work this year, Jaxson Dart and Carson Beck. Look at that. That was pretty deep first segment there. When we get back, let's take it back mainly to football here on Rivals. We'll pick games. We'll talk Dart Beck. Keep it locked right here, youtube.com/Watch Stadium. Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Rivals Down South. It is that time every single Friday. We are going to pick games, and this annoys the hell out of me because not only did this man steal national championship from me, not only did he go on to have a very successful NFL career that is still ongoing. I watch these games. I watch college football all day, every day Saturday. I'm in the media. This is what I'm supposed to actually do. And yet here we sit, A.J. McCarron, after a 6-1 week. My Tigers failing me, now leading with a 30-6 record. Me and SEC Mike bringing up the rear at 28-8. Damn, son. Congrats, A.J. All right, we'll get the picks here in a second. Okay, anything to say from your tower in the clouds there?
No, I mean, listen, I've felt good about the picks, for a couple weeks now, and hopefully we can keep it going.
All right, then let's talk about something that you know infinitely well, and that way better than me, and that is not just football, but specifically quarterback play. And we talked about getting heat on social media. Jaxson Dart got a lot of it last year, not so much this year. He's been having a great season. And when you look at him and Carson Beck, I mean, I think you're talking about the second and third best quarterback in the SEC. Where does Jaxson Dart rank in your mind, AJ? Is he on par with Carson Beck?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the reason I would put Carson Beck there is because it's his first year, right? Like, people didn't know what to expect out of him. He's played well for their offense in big games, especially the past couple of weeks when Brock Bowers has been out, who's your best player on offense by far. He's stepped up and played well, and played well last week against Missouri, 21 of 32, 254 yards, 2 TDs, took care of the ball. So I would say that Jaxson is a great player, not taking anything from him. But he's been in this system for a couple years, and he still has some crazy plays for me, just some true head scratchers. It's like, well, I don't know what the hell he was thinking right there. But he played well last week, and he's going to need to play well this week, and then he's going to need another big-time game out of Trey Harris, who was basically unstoppable last week for him. So I think them as a whole.
That's actually crazy that we went this entire week without mentioning Trey Harris, because he had like 4 or 5 catches that were actually like mind-blowing highlight catches last week. So let's talk Ole Miss, Georgia, in Athens. AJ, you're going first, so I can fade you if I think I can get an advantage. Who wins?
Listen, I'm still taking the best team in the country in my eyes. At home, especially. They've played well in every big game this year when the hype's just been built up against them that, hey, this could be the trap week. This is the week they could possibly go down, and they've come out on top. So I'm taking the Bulldogs.
All right, let's roll through these next ones. Tennessee, Mizzou in Como. Who you got? And I got Georgia as well, obviously. Duh. Sorry.
I'm going Missouri. Missouri at home. They've played well in a lot of big games. I don't think Tennessee's offense is that great this year. Joe Milton has kind of fallen off. The hype behind him isn't really what it was, preseason style. So I'm taking Mizzou at home.
MIZZOU. I think Mizzou's going to have sustainable success in this NIL era. Florida, LSU, Death Valley, Saturday night. Who you got, AJ?
I'm taking LSU. Listen, Tigers at home at night game. You allow their crowd to be drinking all day, eating some jambalaya, some boudin. It's going to be rocking. And I'm taking the Tigers.
Okay, look at AJ with the boudin. Yeah, look. So LSU's defense is awful, but the dirty secret is that all of Florida's awful. So give me Jay Daniels in the offense to overwhelm them. Alabama, Kentucky. Yeah, this is where the Wildcats finally get it done. No, it's Alabama.
Yeah, listen, I think Bama's playing well right now, and especially Tommy Rees calling the plays. They seem to have a good rhythm going, him and Jalen. So Bama.
Okay, a game that'll likely in with the second worst team in the West, Auburn at Arkansas in Fayetteville. Who you like?
Listen, I know Arkansas got a big win, but I like Hugh Freeze in this matchup. I still think he's going to have some trick plays. I'm still not a fan of Arkansas's offense whatsoever. I think Auburn, with a couple trick plays and some more power on offense, gets the dub.
I think this is a better Arkansas team. Look at some of the close games. I think in Fayetteville, they found something. So I think Arkansas gets it done, and this is where I start to get back in the race. Mississippi State, Texas A&M, whatever, A&M. Like, I'll take – there are probably A&M. 5 teams in the – like, Mississippi State's awful. Vandy, South Carolina. Beamer needs this one, but Clark Lee kind of needs this one as well. It's in Columbia. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a question. South Carolina. Vandy's practicing for basketball.
Yeah. Actually, baseball boys over there. Very good baseball team. But you wouldn't know about that because Alabama sucks and LSU's awesome and wins a national championship and stuff. South Carolina. Okay. So there we go. Come on, Arkansas. I need you to get back. Still to come. The Big Ten is poised to punish Jim Harbaugh. But how would that play out in the SEC? We've got some thoughts coming up next here on Rivals Down South. going on, y'all? Welcome back to Rivals Down South, youtube.com/Watch Stadium. Got everybody out the chat right now. Look at this quote from Desmond Howard, guys. So the Big Ten is reportedly preparing a notice of disciplinary action against Jim Harbaugh. Former Wolverine and Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard says, quote, Desmond Howard says, quote, this would never happen in the SEC. The commissioner would never let Vanderbilt and Kentucky and all these other universities say, hey, you need to punish Nick Saban in Alabama right now. So this is interesting to me because you see that it comes from Desmond Howard, right? And so I think a lot of people's initial reaction will be to say, oh, well, of course, that's a Michigan man defending Michigan. We can't trust his opinion. Like, Of course he's going to say this. And I'm not saying that's not true because, yes, obviously Desmond Howard has bias in this and wants Michigan to be successful. And they seem like they're on the cusp of a magical season. I mean, I would say that they're, I think, the betting favorite right now to win national championship. They're my personal favorite to win the national championship. Yes, so of course Desmond doesn't want anything to rock the boat. He doesn't want Jim Harbaugh to be in any sort of extended trouble. He doesn't want to be suspended for some of these final games. But that doesn't mean that what he's saying is untrue, right? Like both things can be true, and I think both things are. Desmond has a vested interest in defending Michigan, and he's absolutely correct. And the Big Ten needs to be careful here because Michigan is preparing evidence on other schools of advanced scouting, and even if it's not as egregious as what the Wolverines has done, you are potentially opening up a can of worms where it's like, who knows where it ends, right? I think also, if you want to go conspiratorial here, there's a bit of a play here from Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, where he knows that legally this will not hold up. Michigan can fight it, get basically any punishment kind of suspended. And this is an idea that's been bandied around by many thoughts and writers. And that's that Petitti says, you're suspended. Michigan says not so fast. And everybody goes on their merry way. Have a great weekend of college football, y'all. We'll see you on Monday for a brand new Rivals Down South.